10 to 12 businesses close every single month in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina alone. And it's not surprising because almost everyone is completely ignoring the fastest way to increase revenue. And 2 or 3 of those dozens of closures are restaurants. And I'm going to give you 2 real world examples. I'm going to change the names to protect the guilty. So bear with me. But Restaurant A, they've been open for over 6 years and they're actually just went through a name change. So technically they've been open even longer than that. But they have less than 900 reviews on their Google listing. Their strategy? Hope. They just hope a happy customer thinks to leave a review. But hope is not a strategy. It only guarantees one thing. When an experience goes wrong, that angry customer is going to ring every bell possible. Google, Yelp, Facebook, Nextdoor, BBB, wherever. They're going to shout it from the rooftops. The second example is Restaurant B. It's a new kid on the block. They've only been open for 6 months and they already have over 400 reviews. So what's their strategy? It's a simple QR flag on every table. It says, love your food, leave a review. One relies on hope and catches haters. The other has a system and builds customer loyalty. Hey, and welcome back to Stop Leaving Money on the Table. I'm your host, Brandyn Miller, and this is the podcast designed to help business owners find the fastest way to increase revenue. Hey, welcome back to Stop Leaving Money on the Table. Before we get into this week's episode, I want to touch on that QR code strategy of Restaurant 2. The new kid on the block had 6 words and they were generating results. Love your food? ? Leave a review. That simple strategy is working for them. Last week, we stopped you from abandoning your customers at the finish line with that product delivery piece. Again, a massive missed opportunity almost every business takes for granted. Today, we're going to dive deep into step 4, the customer follow-up formula, reviews, and feedback opportunities. Notice the S, it is a plural. There's multiple opportunities for reviews, multiple opportunities for feedback. This is the most desired and yet most maligned step in every business. Almost every owner I have ever talked with says they want more reviews, but they think they're too hard to get or that customers just won't leave reviews. I'm going to prove that that is complete falsehood. Today, I'm going to show you how and why feedback is entirely different from a review and how the lazy way asking for those things actually turns customers away. I'm sharing an exact psychological shift that you can make to turn your happy buyers from the hero of a story into a guide for somebody else. Again, stay tuned for those simple steps to get more reviews and better feedback. Now, most business owners, they treat feedback and reviews the same way. And that's part of the reason that they get too few of either one. They are separate and you have to separate them. Feedback, that is internal communication. That is something that you're going to use to improve your business. It's going to be something that a customer gives you so that you can use that internally. Use it to improve your quality, use it to improve the service, use it to improve the delivery, the customer experience as a whole. Here's one hard truth. Your opinion of your product doesn't matter. We know you love it. It's yours. But using the input of people who actually hand you money is infinitely more powerful. Don't get tied to your product. Instead, tie customers to your brand by taking their words and acting on them. Now, reviews, on the other hand, that's external. That's what your current customers are sharing with potential new customers. It provides social proof and lowers the barrier to entry. The reality of that is, whether you ask them to leave a review on Google or not, if they have a great or terrible experience, they are likely to tell somebody. So make sure that you have a strategy to capture that feedback and review. Now, both feedback and reviews are massive opportunities. Again, I cannot say this enough. There's an S on there. Tons of ways to get both of them. And when you do that, you're going to build customer loyalty and increase repeat sales. Yes, even the negatives, maybe even especially the negative feedback or reviews. When I was getting certified in unreasonable hospitality with Will Guidera, he was sharing a story that completely changed how I look at complaints and probably should change the way that you look at complaints as well. The story he told was about a diner that was in a restaurant, upscale restaurant, and had complained that they'd had better steaks at Outback Steakhouse, and they were really disappointed. Now, what normally happens in this instance is the manager comes over and maybe they comp the meal, maybe they offer to replace the steak or apologize in some way. That's the normal piece. But this manager didn't do normal. He didn't just zero out the bill. He went out and got a $50 gift card to Outback Steakhouse and says, hey, we want you to have the steak that you want, and gave it to the diner. He put his ego aside and gave the diner that gift card as recognition of that their complaint was heard and that he genuinely had their best interest in mind. And that was a game changer for me and really says, man, how can I do better with the feedback that I'm getting? Now, the greatest part of the story is that patron felt so seen, heard, and recognized. What do you think he did? He gave the restaurant a second chance and later became a regular of that restaurant. So think about that. What would you do if a business responded to your complaint with that level of extreme empathy? And how can you implement that same kind of customer-focused reply to all of the reviews and feedback that you get in your business? And how can you actually do that for every review, not just dramatic ones or complaints? Every single time somebody gives you feedback, it's an opportunity to build increased customer loyalty. And again, I can't tell you how many times I've heard business owners say, it's way too hard to get reviews, or nobody in my industry leaves reviews. It's just not a thing. Well, I've even heard a marketer say out loud in a room of people, don't expect customers to leave reviews. It made me want to pull my hair out what little bit I have left. But it should be, I love busting this myth. And it is a myth. Remember that new restaurant? They only had 6, 7, however many words it was. And they've already collected over 400 reviews in less than 6 months. So people will give reviews. Chances are you're just messing up the way that you're asking in 2 critical factors: when you ask and how you ask. Let's start with when. I recently got an email, and I'm going to malign this company again. I'm omitting the names to protect the guilty. But I recently got a company. It's not the first one, but I literally don't remember the last time I did business with them. It had to be years, plural, so at least 2 or 3 years ago. It said, hey, we're in the running for best of insert city. Please vote for us. As a matter of fact, it wasn't Myrtle Beach, which is where I live now. So it was at least 6 years ago, now that I think about it. But again, how many times have you gotten something like that? Before I get into this, quick aside, where have you been for the past 6 years since I gave you my money? Don't ignore me for over half a decade and then show up asking me for a favor. Rant over. Let's get back to it. So when should you ask? Well, make your request align with the customer's experience. It should be soon enough to engage the customer in the process, but not before they get a chance to actually use the product. Now, if you're a dentist, as soon as they pay the bill, if they have an email in their inbox when they get home, their teeth are still shiny and bright and their breath still smells fantastic, that's a great time to ask for a review. But if you sell lawnmowers, don't send a review request with the receipt. They haven't even had a chance to cut the grass yet. Wait until they actually use the product. So what you're asking for should coincide with the customer's current or at least expected progress. This can also be another reminder for them to stop waiting to solve their problem. But again, that's a secondary response. Give that review request when you think that they're ready to review the actual product or the part of the transaction that you're requesting. A review request on a large project could actually have multiple stages. Again, reviews, multiple opportunities. How easy was it to connect, design, and start working together? A second opportunity could be, how was the progress? How did we leave the project? Or what does the finished result look like? You can ask multiple times for different things. And again, can't stress this enough. Both reviews and feedback have multiple opportunities. If it's a consumable product, How often do your customers usually use it? And then what are you asking for? What kind of review do you want? Is it about longevity? Is it about quality? Is it about ease of use? Understand what you want to get from the request for a review. If it's intellectual property, maybe it's a book, maybe it's a course. Wait long enough for the customer to actually use the content or a portion of it. And again, easy ways to do that is by now you've probably finished the first couple of chapters or learning modules, whatever. What's the most impactful first part of the process? So when do customers get the most from your product or service? And when do you ask for a review? Are those two timelines aligned? Make sure they are. At this point, if you're saying, man, that's why I don't even bother asking for reviews, stop the podcast right now. Go to Google, copy your link for a review, and go put it at the register. Attach it to your invoice. Email the link to your customers, because the only thing worse than making these two mistakes is not asking at all. You can improve the process later, but you've got to ask for reviews. I know that sounds harsh, but stop leaving money on the table. It's the name of the podcast, and it's what every single business on the planet is doing. So start getting more reviews. Sorry, another rant over. Today might just be a day that I go off the rails. So let's talk about how you ask. Most businesses use this exact same script. Hey, support local business. Do us a favor and leave a review. It really helps us out. And I swear to God, I copied and pasted that from an actual request that I got. But how? This is a whole different ball of wax. But most businesses ask for those reviews. Hey, customer, it's me business. I'm up for best of the city or who's who in my industry, whatever it is. I would love it if you, customer, would give me business a review. It's still better than not asking, but man, there's a ton of ways to improve this. You can see how the more space between time of transaction and that review request, the worse it sounds and feels to your customers. So if you're doing that, here's your opportunity to improve the process. After the transaction, the customer's part is done. They gave you money. You provided a good or service. They've completed their commitment. Job done. So days, weeks, months, maybe years, you're coming back to them. They already gave you money and you provided the service. They have no more obligation to you. Asking them for a favor feels like you're demanding an additional payment for what they already bought. So here comes the paradigm shift that's going to make today worth it. This is going to be what starts getting you more results and increase repeat sales and future sales. Changing the way you ask is going to get more engagement. It's going to empower your customer, not impose on them. So to get massive engagement, change the psychological dynamic. Shift the customer from the hero of their own story into the guide for somebody else's. Don't ask them to help you. Empower them to help other people that are suffering from the same problem they just cured for themselves. Instead of saying, support our business, ask them to help friends and neighbors stop suffering. When you do this, they aren't doing you a favor. They're not submitting an additional payment for something they already bought. They're stepping into the aspirational identity and helping build their tribe by helping people. All you have to do is frame the ask just a little bit differently. If you send a blank link, you're going to get reviews that say, Julie is awesome. She's amazing. That's flattering and probably true, but it doesn't help future buyers. Instead, ask 3 simple questions. What was your life like before? How did this solution help? And how has your life changed? Suddenly, Julie is awesome turns into, my chronic shoulder pain bothered me all day, every day. I felt relief after my first visit with Julie, and within 3 weeks, I was back to playing 18 holes of golf without pain. That review will print money over and over. Don't ask a million questions, though. Those 3 are just enough to plant the right seeds. And you might not even need all 3 of them. The easier you make it for customers to help other people, the more reviews that you're going to get. But a word of warning on how to phrase things. Make it easy and don't accidentally plant negative words in their head. In the last episode, I gave an example about my Father's Day trip to downtown Flavortown. They did a follow-up communication. So for that, I applaud them. And if you missed that episode, go back and listen to my experience. But it was an automated text asking, would you recommend us with a scale of 1 to 10? I selected 6, and I got an immediate automated reply that said, sorry you had a bad experience. What was bad about your experience? If you're in the restaurant business or any business that sends these types of messages, you may register number 6 as a bad experience and want additional feedback. And again, this transitions from a request for a review to a request for feedback. But let me get to it. I said it was 6, but this clunky automation, they came back and said, sorry you had a bad experience. They planted the words just like I want you to plant positive experiences and the responses that you want from your customers, but they put the word bad in my head. Now it's coming out of my mouth. And in StoryBrand terms, they opened a completely different story loop that had nothing to do with my actual experience or the question that they asked me. Instead of saying what was bad, they should have asked, what can we change to make it easier for you to recommend us? That's the question that they actually asked, is how likely are you to recommend me? Instead, they said, what was bad about your experience? Another example of the difference between reviews, feedback, and how to make sure that your request, that you're asking for the right things. We're rounding third and heading for home, but don't tune out just yet. There's some important stuff left to come. But let's recap step 5. Customers will leave reviews because people love helping people. Just change the way that you're asking so that you're actually helping them become the guide. And just 3 little questions will help you get better reviews that print money. Again, time your request so that it lines with their experience. Prompt their replies, give them a question or two, and make it easy. Those are the simple steps, because when you follow up with customers, your sales go up. And when you empower customers to help future customers and leave reviews that help, all of your sales go up, not just your repeat sales. Phase 1, that built out the 3 steps of the transaction phase. With this step, you've now officially entered into phase 2 of the customer follow-up formula, the implementation phase. Today, you learned how to engage customers instead of imposing on them and getting great feedback and great reviews. If you want the complete roadmap, head to customerfollowupformula.com. Download the free guide outlining all 10 steps through the 3 phases that tie customers to your brand. And if you're starting to realize how impactful this is going to be, but you're wondering, how am I going to do this? How will I find time to do this? Well, schedule a one-on-one audit. Just go to customerfollowupformula.com. There's a place that you can schedule that audit, and you can have the entire system installed for you in less than 90 days. But here's your action plan for today. First, check your current metrics. Look at your Google, Facebook, Yelp, whatever system that you want to select, and pick one platform to focus on. Write down the number of reviews that you have right now today. Then create an automatic timed response that aligns with their experience, and include those specific questions, those 3 questions that we discussed that will give great feedback that prints more money, and the direct link to that platform that you chose. Next week, go check that number and watch it go up. And pro tip, reply to every single one of the reviews within 24 hours or 1 business day. If they're engaging with you, reward that engagement, and that's going to continue to build brand loyalty and customer loyalty. You're well on your way to getting more reviews. Next week, we're going to continue into the implementation phase with step 5, cross-selling variations and timing. I'll show you how to cross-sell to current customers who are dying to give you more money. While you're here, hit subscribe or follow on your favorite player, however you're listening to this, and let me know in the comments, what's your biggest takeaway from today? and be here next Friday. Once again, I'm Brandyn Miller, and stop leaving money on the table by getting more reviews and better feedback from your customers, and I'll see you next week.